Hey everybody, welcome back to The Unconditional Life. I'm John.
I'm Johnny.
Glad to have you with us today. Today we want to talk about probably a very important topic, or at least for me it is, and I remember when I learned about the gravity of this. I'll share that with you in a minute. We're going to talk about being present, the power of now, this moment. I remember when it first became very evident to me that I didn't understand the present like I thought it did. We were at a family function, and my grandpa asked everybody, I think it was Thanksgiving, and Grandpa asked everybody to say what they were most thankful for. And my uncle said, this moment. I never thought about it before, but truthfully, that's all we ever have. That's all we ever have is this present. And we all unwrap it instead of worry about what we don't got or what is already gone. And I think that's it. It shocked me. I was a very young man. I still remember it to this day. This moment. And that's all we truly have.
It is.
This now.
Yep. And it ties into kind of what we've talked about the last couple times. I think a couple weeks ago we did an episode about time, where we talked about how we take the moment up and divide it, and now we've got past, future, and present. But they relate together because when you realize the things that we do with time, number one, time itself is something we have created as humanity. We created time so that we can have an experience, and that's not good or bad. It just is.
Well, we like things to be in containers.
We do, and we like to control things and have a say there, but too many of us think of, okay, past is what has happened, present is right now, and future is what's coming. But that's just three different perceptions to look at now from. You know what I mean? It's you're either trying to see the nows that are coming, or the nows that went by, or the now that's happening right now. You're not really looking, because you're right, it doesn't exist in your mind, except in your mind, the past and the future. They don't. They're figments of your imagination. The past is made up of already gone by nows that we've experienced. But anything in the future that's going to happen eventually, when it does happen, will happen in the now. So really all we have is right now. We don't have the future. And the moment we're living right now is a result of kind of what we've set up for ourselves from behind, from a ways ago. Because you're right, it is a present. But also, if you break that word up just a little bit, present means a pre-sent moment. A moment that was sent to you before you ever knew it existed.
I like that.
These are just opportunities for us to, in the now, experience a different version or the same version of who we are. And that can only happen in right now. So for me, now right now is all we have ever. Ever.
Well, I think we're missing it, to be honest with you. I think we're missing half our lives, maybe more. And here's the
here's the number one.
Here's the number one reason why.
We just talked about this. How many people did we see causing traffic issues?
Yeah,
on the
causing
way
traffic
here
jams on the way down here.
And people that didn't, like, I was at work this morning, and I drive truck for Model Linen at the moment, and I love my job. But there are so many times where we have people that we're almost about to hit, or people that are backing out of places, and we're in a 26,000-pound truck. We're not hiding.
Yeah.
And
you're not sneaking up on them.
There's times where they never even see us.
Yeah.
They're just the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's also a metaphor to how we live in other areas of our lives. You know what I mean?
Well, we were talking on the way here today. It's been so long since I've actually read the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Great book.
But I would highly recommend that. I just downloaded it on Audible. I'll be listening to it before we have another podcast. And from what I remember, the only thing we really have, and we rob ourselves of it, is this moment. And so many of us are trying to shoulda this and shoulda that, or woulda, coulda, that we're not even here. And how often do we get home to the people we say we love the most, and then we gotta disconnect? And I don't know. I'm not saying I got this one all dialed in. I find myself on my phone more often than I care to admit, and I phone fast on purpose. But am I literally enjoying my own experience? Or am I so worried about what I didn't do or what I got to do that I'm not here doing what I have to do? My brother Skyler said something one day, and I love it. He said, way too many human beings are worried about eternal life or going to heaven or staying out of hell that they forget you're missing life now.
Yeah.
You got this gift right now to be alive. And I don't know, I'm going to throw out a weird bone. What if, just what if, we're all wrong? And it's your one chance to love, to laugh, to connect, to make love,
Well, you can only do
to
that
bathe in the
now.
sea, to eat a good meal, and you miss it. Because
Yeah.
you got now. You don't have tomorrow. Nobody's promised tomorrow. Yesterday you can't get back. You can't undo. You can't redo.
You can't experience the future. You can only experience.
Well, you could be afraid of
right
what
now.
isn't going to happen.
That's happening up here, right?
Yeah.
The experience you have will always be in the now. You'll never have an experience of the future. Just like you'll never have an experience of something in the past
Yeah,
again.
you
It already
re-experience the past. It's gone.
And that's just called your memory. That's
Yeah.
the best way you can kind of re-experience that. But I mean, when you listen to music, John, do you listen hoping, oh, I hope the end gets here quick. I hope I hear that finishing note right away. Or do you listen to music to enjoy the music?
To savor
The
it.
journey the music takes you on. Some of my favorite songs I listen to, I don't listen to over and over and over again because I love the fact that it ends so much. You know, music is kind of like how I think about time a little bit. And now, when you're listening to that music, you're now with that song.
Very present.
You're very present. You're enjoying the way the music's put together. As your ears are observing the dissonance, the different spaces between the chords and stuff like that. You're enjoying all the aspects. Now, if you were living life like it was a big song that you were listening to, you'd be able to, act like the things that are happening to you, you chose. You know, because you kind of did.
You did.
Whether you know it not or not, on a subconscious level, you chose the things that are happening to you. So whether the good things or bad things are happening in my life, I love the fact that things are happening because it means I'm alive.
Yeah, you touched on two things. Number one, I had a cardiologist tell me, you only need to be afraid of the flat line.
That
number
sound,
two-
and you won't hear the sound. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
it won't matter anymore.
You'll just be
Once you
gone.
flatline, as long as there's plenty of, I said, well, we're living over here, Doc. It's good. We got plenty of, no flatline, plenty of heartbeat. And number two, when you talk about this, our life as a song, as living these moments as a song, I think it's important when you talk in specific about being here today, now, that you can't hang on to a note or the song doesn't continue. And we flow through happy songs, sad songs, songs that make you want to dance, songs that make you want to cry, songs that make you want to work. And but you have to let go of that moment to grasp the next one, to hear the next note. If you're stuck in A forever, that's just one frequency, one vibration. You're not going to get a symphony out of that. You have to be willing to let go of those moments.
Be willing to listen to it.
Yeah, and let it roll. And I would even say, looking back on my life, some of my beautiful, most memorable moments have been moments that I would label as sorrowful. But they were beautiful, and I was maybe more present in those moments than any other time in my life. Moment to moment. Less distracted by what didn't happen or what was coming. And I'm learning now how to integrate more of that childlike enthusiasm for riding my bike, for building a fort, for building a campfire, to stay in that, because I've noticed that when I'm at a funeral, I don't usually think about all the past. Think about that moment of missing that soul that I love.
It's like we're not here to think about all the moments that are going to be changed because you're not going to be here.
Just to be with you.
We're here
Yeah.
to celebrate what we've received for what you were doing when you were here, the gifts that we were given. Look, the secret to being in the now for me, and we talked about how, yeah, it's good to be in the now and everything else is kind of in your mind, but how do we do that? How do we check out of our mind and get into the present? One thing that I like to do is I like to just, the thought just kind of ran away from me, dude. That was crazy.
Love that. I know one good way to ask the people around you.
I remembered it. So what I try to do is I try to live in the space between my thoughts. Because the past and the present only exist in your mind. Okay? So in order to fully experience the now, you have to get out of your mind. You have to stop thinking. Now, thoughts, you can really only have one thought at a time. It works like a train. There's a car, there's a car, there's a car, there's a car. Train of thought. You know what I mean? I always actually picture a train. But you've got to spend time in between the cars. That's where and then as you start to do that, that space becomes bigger. And it starts to become easier to get there. But the first thing you got to do is just start practicing. And one way to get your mind out of your mind, or out of the past and the future, is to... I like to just take a second and focus on my breath. Not breathe differently, but it helps me take myself out of the thoughts that I'm having. And just be like, okay, breathe in. How good does it feel to breathe right now? And I'm not talking necessarily specifically about meditation. Ultimately, that's what meditation is a way to pull you out of your mind and get you in between that space between your thoughts. But there's a way to do it that's much quicker, where you don't have to sit down and go, hey, I need to meditate for hours. And that's just start, anytime you're in a moment that you just realize you're in your mind, just count your breaths for a second. It doesn't take long. And it's not a big job, and it'll get easier to do that every once in a while. But yeah, the trick is to try to live in the space between your thoughts, because that's where the now lives.
You have to be careful, though, that you don't think too much about what you're thinking about.
Yeah, it's been really hard.
I'm having a hard time being present because I keep thinking about why I'm not being here. And it literally becomes a practice. I remember as a younger boy, it was so easy to just be present, to just bask in this moment. And then we come up with all these stories about all of, especially, and I can't speak for anybody but me, I had all these stories about the stuff that my responsibilities. And pretty soon it weighed down the joy of absolutely being present. But like you said earlier today, you'll never experience anything in the future. You said that on the way down. You might even said that in the podcast. It's impossible. The only experience you ever have is what's going on right now in this moment. You can't affect anything that's gone. You can only affect now. And I would pose to you that the best way to affect now is to be all the way present in this moment. I remember Jesus said, be ye therefore perfect. He didn't say anything about doing. I'll just leave that on the table for a minute.
It's all about being.
Be perfect. He didn't say do. It's not about doing exercise or reading scriptures. He said be perfect. Which means, guess what? Sometimes we're perfect messes.
And that's
be
okay.
that perfect mess. Just be perfect. That's, like, I'm not talking about the Ten Commandments. I'm just talking about what Jesus said. Jesus said, be ye therefore perfect. That, to me, takes the angst and worry about any doingness. Now, that doesn't mean you run around and be an asshat all the time, for sure, but you're still paying attention to people and things, but be perfect.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure of the doingness, I think, we lay on ourselves.
There's a lot of things. I mean, all of our days are wrapped up in doing, you know. We got to do this, got to do that, got to do this. If you're focused on doing, then you're going to be on like an agenda pushed mind. Got to do this, got to do that. Being is about the person you're going to be while you're doing the things. You know, and that is something you get to choose before moving forward. You actually get to choose how you be before you take action. And so it's just about making the choice to be authentic, you know, unconditional. But none of that matters if we can't find ourselves in the now. We'll never be able to find another human being anywhere else but right now.
In this moment.
In this moment.
In this present moment. I love that. I still remember my Uncle Vance saying that. What are you grateful for? This moment. This one.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters.
And I am absolutely grateful for this moment as well.
Me too.
We love you guys. We appreciate you. I don't know. Do you have anything else?
You know what? I'm pretty good with that.
Yeah.
And you know, give us some feedback. We're just two guys talking.
Don't have it figured out. We're
we
just
want
talking.
to learn. We're hoping maybe some of you got some answers we don't. If you do, share them with us. Maybe come be a guest one day.
Leave us a comment.
Yeah, we love you guys.
We'd love to keep the conversation
Thanks.
going outside of the camera too.
And
so
thanks
that
for
we
being
can-
here and sharing this moment with us.
Absolutely. We appreciate
Have
you
a good
guys.
day.
Thank you.